Bonjour tout le monde. Alright, let's get into this video, even though I don't want to start yet because I like this groove and this groove and this saxophone and I really love it. Alright, let's go. Let me tell you something. Okay, so hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about study abroad, advice, tips, all things study abroad, travel abroad, living abroad. And I'm just excited to talk about this topic because I feel like I wanted to kind of end out these vlogs with just to talk about my study abroad experience and just any questions that you guys had about it. And yeah, I'm excited. So if you don't know already, I went and studied abroad in France for 6 months from January 2018 till July. Hold on, 6 months. Oh snap. Well, no, June. Okay. So January to June, 6 months. Yeah. Wow. I'm good with math. Anyways, and it was an amazing experience. I just want to say, like, overall, it was an amazing experience, and I definitely recommend any like college student, specifically if you have the opportunity to study abroad, like just go for it. Even if like you never really thought about it before, like truly consider it, because traveling abroad is like such an amazing experience. And it's great when you're doing it in college because a lot of times scholarships or financial aid will cover your trip, and that's obviously great. And also because this is a time in life where you don't really have much obligations, well, for most people, so take advantage of that and travel. So if you can travel and let it be credit for school at the same time, that sounds like a win-win. So travel abroad. I believe that experience is our best teacher, and I believe that to be so true, especially when we're traveling and creating experiences away from our home base. And man, the amount of lessons and the different things that just filled me, like I've learned so much studying abroad. Like I really did. Like I wrote down certain things that I learned, and it's just like wow. And I feel like I probably will share some. Let's see. Okay, so one of them was experience will be your best teacher. The next one was like hustle like a Moroccan because you'll be rich. Yo, the way how Moroccans hustle, next level. Another thing is just put your phone down sometimes and just take in the experience. I feel like in this age of social media, it's like we want to share, like show everyone like what we're doing and all this stuff, and I'm just like, I really saw how the times that I put my phone down and like took everything in, especially in Morocco, it was just like wow. You know, so sometimes just put your phone down and just enjoy the moment. Another thing is keep track of your money. It goes fast when you're having fun, and that is pure facts. Like I'm not saying like be real strict on your money, because there'll be so many opportunities where you want to just do like just go out with people or do whatever, and you're gonna be like, oh, but the money, like sometimes the money will come. Like truly, if you have faith and if you like think smart and do certain things, like the money will come. So don't necessarily worry about the money you don't have now. I'm not saying spend like frivolously, but I'm just saying when there's moments to have an experience, like invest in that, because there are always lessons, and have fun. You're abroad. Oh, another thing, I also learned this in Morocco. I learned a lot in Morocco, but I said don't just ignore beggars or vendors. Say no, or like that you're, or like I don't know, say no or show some sort of interest, or at least the whole point is acknowledge them. I I saw how we're all humans, you know, and we all deserve respect. And someone there pouring out their heart to you, trying to like survive, at least acknowledge them. That's like the least you can do. So don't just like totally ignore them. I mean, at certain times when you acknowledge them, they keep on pushing. But I'm just saying in terms of say no. Like, don't just walk away like a person's not even right there. And I feel like I'm from New York and we do this all the time, especially if you're on the app. People are trying to give you a flyer every 2 seconds and you just learn to ignore people and act like they're invisible. But I just realized like that's not human. Like, I feel like that's not even Christ. Like we shouldn't be ignoring people like that are trying to reach out to us. At least say no. At least say no and keep it pushing, you know. So yeah, so I'm gonna move on to what I wrote down. And also, you guys did a poll on my Instagram. A Q&A will be coming at the end of whatever you guys had asked me about study abroad, traveling abroad, living abroad. So wait for that at the end. Alright, before I left for France, someone who's like a big brother to me gave me some, I would say, sound advice afterwards, but maybe my family would have preferred me not to listen to him. But basically he was like, Lori, you're young, go out, have fun, do things you've never done, take risks. And he was like, if that means being wild, it's okay. Clearly not what a responsible parent or adult would say to you. But you know, there was a time where I actually took this advice and did something pretty crazy, and I do not regret it, and I'm so happy I did it because it was fun, you know. And I just feel like there are just times where you just gotta let go and have fun. Obviously not going against your beliefs and all this stuff, but just like have fun. I don't think a lot of people realize, because people are like, yo, how you traveling so much? Like, you got money? Or like, how do you pay for all this stuff? And I'm just like, bruh, I'm still broke. I'm still a college student. Like, I don't have money. But I realize what a lot of people realize is that once you're in Europe, it's hella cheap to travel. I mean, I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's dirt cheap, but I'm just saying like it's pretty affordable to travel within Europe and to like neighboring countries. So it's not too crazy that I was able to travel to different countries. I'm blessed nonetheless, but because I was in Europe, it's easier to travel to other countries. It's more affordable, and that's why I say if you're in Europe, definitely take advantage of that, because traveling from the US to these countries is not cheap. Now when you are traveling, I definitely recommend Airbnb, because who can afford hotels? I mean, certain hotels in certain cities are sometimes either the same price as Airbnb or even cheaper at times. Well, maybe not cheaper, but the same price as Airbnb. So check that out when you go to different cities, because sometimes Airbnb is not that cheap, but for the most part Airbnb is usually really cheap. And also hostels. So Hostel World, I never tried hostels, but I know people who were with me and they had good experiences with hostels. So if you're able to do that, like, as in, basically, if you don't know what hostels are, they're like a room with bunk beds and it's strangers in there. And I mean, they're clean and stuff, it's organized, it's safe, but it's kind of weird in my opinion to be like sleeping with strangers. I don't know. I don't think I would do that as a female. I shouldn't say as a female, because it really is safe, but I just feel like a lot of times I am alone and I just couldn't see myself in a bunk bed with strangers in a city I don't know. Yeah, no. A couple of like budget travel websites to utilize is Skyscanner, EasyJet. Oh my gosh, EasyJet was the plug. Ryanair, I said Airbnb, and also Eurail for a train. And when you're on those flights, sometimes like on the budget travel like transports like EasyJet, there is no like, you know, movies and stuff. You have to pay for it, and that's when Netflix comes in clutch. So download those Netflix movies from before so you can enjoy them on the flight. This next advice is specifically for those studying abroad and studying abroad for like a long period of time, so 6 months or more, and that is, don't overpack. Like, you're gonna be there for months upon months. This means that like while you're there, you're gonna be accumulating things, and there are things that you're gonna want to bring back. So if you come to the country packing like your bags are full, then how are you supposed to bring stuff back? I mean, if you got it like that and you're gonna pay for an extra bag to go back home, then alright. But don't go to the country and like expect to bring things back if you packed, like if you overpack. So pack lightly and you'll realize that you'll be very happy that you did. Another tip for packing is to check the weather before you go, like the typical weather in each month, so you know what type of like clothing to bring, like jackets, boots, gloves, hat, like if those things are necessary. That definitely helped me because the weather really was like what it usually is on average, so I was able to pack accordingly and pack smart. If you're under 26, you're in a good position because typically once you're under 26, you get a lot of discounts from the railways, movie theaters, museums, sometimes food places. Is that true? Yeah, like certain coffee shops, I believe. But yes, a lot of attractions. If you're under 26, you get discounts. The train, you get discounts. So take advantage of that because you could be paying a lesser price. So search for those places that offer under 26 years old discounts and take advantage of it. So if you can work abroad, I'm not gonna say like it's a must, but there's definitely benefits to it. While I was abroad, I saw how a couple of students in our program were able to have internships or jobs, and that really brought in like some good pocket money, and also it gave them like amazing like time to practice their French, and how that like definitely made them improve French at a faster rate because they're like at work, so you have to speak the language, you know. And I wish that I was able to like take advantage of that opportunity. I know someone wanted me to like tutor them in English and like they'll pay me and stuff, but long story short, it was too far, too inconvenient. But if you can take advantage of that, because like you really would learn a lot when you're exchanging, when you're teaching in general. When you're teaching whatever subject, you tend to learn a lot and keep it within you. Like you're truly learning once you're teaching it to someone else. Because I was studying abroad in France, I went there to learn French, obviously. So I actually wanted to learn French. I did not go to study abroad to just travel, and I know some people do that, and I mean, alright, do you, that's you. But I actually wanted to learn French, and I feel like if you want to learn the language, you're gonna have to force yourself to speak it. It doesn't feel comfortable at all. Like, I hated it. And you're gonna make mistakes, and people might laugh at you, and it might sound really weird, but literally, especially the environment I was in, because it was a college like environment, school environment, people like knew you were learning language, they're totally understanding, and they loved it when you tried. So just be comfortable like speaking, for me, French. And I wish I was more comfortable speaking French, because if I spoke more French, I would have like been even further. But mind you, I try not, I'm a little hard on myself, especially with French, but I literally went to France knowing no French. Like, literally, I have this card. Yo, where's this? Oh, I can't find the card, but basically, right before I got on the plane, I wrote out like quick French words and questions I will need to like ask people just for like emergencies because I didn't know anything. And literally all I knew for myself was bonjour. And like I on that card there was like basic stuff that I wrote on there. So it just shows like how I really did not know anything going to France. And maybe that's not something I would tell you to do, but I mean I still went there not knowing much and made it out alive. I also made it out learning a lot. So just be open to learning and practice with like locals so you'll really get that experience. Another way to learning the language a little faster is distancing yourselves from familiarity, because there were so many American students, and I mean that was a blessing as well but also a curse, because I got really comfortable just speaking English to them, and we all got comfortable speaking English to each other. So when you're studying abroad, specifically learning the language, stay away from your native language speakers, because you're gonna get lazy. You really are. And if you're there to learn the language, you're not supposed to be practicing your native language. So I don't want to say stay away from them, but stay away from them. But no, because this is like those are the same people that made me have an amazing time. I mean, without interacting with them often, I wouldn't build the relationships that I did build. So honestly, I don't know what to say about that. Maybe just force yourself a little more to speak the language with them, but stay away from them. Okay. Don't stay away from them, but just increase the locals in your life so you can have those speaking engagements with the locals, and then you also have the Americans, you know. Just have a nice balance. No, don't have a balance. Make it more locals than Americans and you'll be Gucci. I realized in my program a lot of people missed food from home. I mean, I definitely missed food from home because we were eating like vegetarian food and it was French-ish. Not really. It was like cat food, and you know cat food is typically not the most tastiest thing. And I mean, it adds another level when it's like in another country and you're just not used to the taste at all. So that was pretty hard adjusting to the food. I'm not sure if I ever adjusted to it. I think actually the chefs just got better. No, but actually I really didn't adjust much. The chefs just got better, which I'm very thankful for. So yeah, back to the point of, you know, if you know that you like specific foods and specific things that you can like to put in your bag and put in your suitcase and take with you, do that. Like definitely take things with you. I don't know if you like Pringles or specific flavored ramen noodles or like veggie meat. Yo, someone brought Worthington veggie Big Franks. That was clutch, because that was like gold to us, like gold. So like if you have things like that you want to bring from home, I definitely recommend bringing foods that are like your must-haves. I advise you to exchange a lump sum of money at once, because if you like try to break up and exchange money at different times, you're gonna keep on paying a fee. Or if you're like taking money out of the ATM all the time, you're gonna have to pay for those international fees. So definitely take out a lump sum of money and then keep it safe somewhere. And when you take out that lump sum of money, like separate your money and put it in different places. But also you can get a travel credit card or they even have travel debit cards where you don't have a transaction fee, like an international transaction fee. So look into that as well, because that really can come in the clutch, because those fees rack up, like $3, $2 fee, $1, like those fees really rack up. So try not to use your card too often, because those fees will apply. So this will be my last tip slash takeaway before I go into the Q&A, and that is to document. I know before I said like be careful of like documenting too much, taking too many pictures, and like being on social media too much, but I think I'm more trying to say like being on Instagram and snapping. There's a difference I feel when I was like taking actual videos on my phone than snapping. I don't know why. I guess because sometimes like when you're snapping, like you want to add like words to it or like something or a filter or stuff, and that can take time. But like when you're just recording videos, it's just like, you know, I don't know. But also, to when I say documenting, I also mean writing things down, keeping in a journal. I have a travel journal from like when I went to Kenya, and ever since then where I travel to, I write things down. So I do recommend you having a travel journal, because you're not gonna remember when Pablo from the pizzeria gave you a kiss on the cheek, like, you know. I mean, maybe you will remember that, but like you want to write those things down, because you're not going to remember every single detail in your experience, and you may want to share stories with your family later on, you know. And if you don't have like an accumulation of those experiences, it's just like, how are you supposed to show your family, especially if they're not on social media, if they don't follow you on social media, they're not really going to be seeing what you've been up to. And I guess that's why I'm also happy I created this YouTube, because I was able to like show them like, hey, this is what I've been doing, like I wasn't just laying in bed, you know. So that's been pretty cool. So document your experience, not just for your family either, but also for yourselves, because when I look back at these videos and like my writings, I'm just like, oh snap, I was kind of living it up. I had fun, you know, and it was just pretty cool to experience this. Like, I really am blessed to experience this. So now we're gonna go into the Q&A. I had put up a poll on my Instagram, and you guys sent me a lot of questions, and I'm happy, and let's get it. Okay, the first question is from Mr. RLSco the third. And it's, how did you find the funds to do it and still live? I feel like I explained a lot about how to like live more affordably while you're abroad, but also, I mean, I feel like I live pretty modestly. I don't really spend that much money, so that's one thing. I do spend money on food, so like when it comes on to food, unfortunately I gotta work on that for real. But scholarship, because I'm in school, like scholarships helped me, my job, even though that was not much. And for real, it's those church sisters, them aunties that just be sliding, that slicks handshake, giving you a couple, you know, dollars, and that's been a true blessing for me. And that's just provided like pocket money for school. Oh, as I say, pocket money, my school, my program actually gave us pocket money at 2 different times, so I didn't even realize that they were gonna give us pocket money. So I was just like, oh, word. So I was just like really happy because our program gave us pocket money, and that really helped me. What else can I say about how do I find the funds and still live? Oh, pre-plan. I mean, I didn't really pre-plan that much, but if you know, like, you definitely only have this amount of like income in cash, then know like this amount has to go to flights, this has to go to accommodations, and then food. Like, that's how you organize it. It's gonna be your travel expenses, where you're gonna stay, and then food. At the end of the day, that's all you really need, and then afterwards you just walk around and take pictures. So yeah, once you got the base money of like flight, accommodations, and food, you're really set. And to be honest, a lot of times you can just go to grocery stores and buy like food and cook it, or like make a sandwich. This girl literally made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches while she was on trips. So if you're really struggling, if you're trying to make certain sacrifices, then just do what you gotta do. I really believe that traveling is not as expensive as how people make it out to be. Obviously, you can make travel expensive. Traveling is, if I'm gonna be honest, it is kind of expensive. It's not. Traveling is expensive, but once you do certain things, it's not as expensive as how like people think it is. So you can definitely do it, Rob. Like, just do it. The next question is from Asha's Life, and she sent me a lot of questions, which I'm so happy for. And the first one is, how is transportation? So I was in France and on the border of Switzerland, so transportation for me was pretty difficult because I had to first walk down a mountain or like a hill and then go to the Switzerland border to get the bus that runs through Geneva. That was annoying, but I mean, I did it because the only other way was getting a taxi to come up to us, and that's expensive. Like, I legit wouldn't even be able to afford that. You can also, because in that area there's no Uber in France, we had to like, you had to be across the border in Switzerland and order Uber to take you up to the hill. So it is kind of annoying in that location, but apart from that, in general, travel and transportation is really simple. Like, public transportation is really simple, it's easy, sometimes even I would say inexpensive compared to like other cities. And once you follow, like, Google Maps really was what I used, and once you follow the directions, it works out fine. Next question is, best places to eat if you're vegetarian or non-vegetarian, if you know. Best places to eat, I feel like it's a very general term because I was in different areas, but I'll say that before you go, if you're vegetarian, there are a lot of vegetarian restaurants now popping up, so just look at if there are vegetarians in that area that you're going to, and I'm pretty sure you'll find one, or a restaurant with vegetarian options. I mean, the French people love their meat, but especially in Paris, because they're becoming so hip, like, you're gonna find vegetarian spots. I actually went to a vegetarian spot in Paris, and that was pretty cool. It was actually a vegan spot, and that was cool. So go back to my vlogs and see where I ate, and that was pretty much a good place for you to like check out, like, the best places to eat. Favorite places to go. Also, check the vlogs, the previous vlogs, and you'll see like where I went, and I really enjoyed those places. I guess to just name a few of my favorite places, I would say London, and in London I really enjoyed Emirates Airline. I would say in France, in the south of France, I really enjoyed everything. But the scenery in the south of France, like the beach and stuff, I didn't really get to go to the beach, but it was beautiful. And then in Morocco, I really enjoyed the center, the market. I mean, at times it can get a little overwhelming, but just sitting there and just watching was just like amazing. How well do you have to know the language to travel to these places? I feel like we have a benefit of having English as our first language, so it's not that hard. I mean, granted, I did realize how many people don't speak English, and even though it's a first world country, it kind of felt weird. I was just like, yo, you're supposed to know English. But no, there's some people who legit don't know English, so you have to use body language, like pointed signs, like pictures on your phone. If you have internet, that'll be great, because then you can use Google Translate. So really just working with it. At the end of the day, we're all humans, so we can speak the human language. Safest places you think to go for people who don't really know the language. So the safest places, honestly, I'll first by saying first world countries. I don't like using that term, but first world countries are generally safe. I would say, I mean, in England they speak English, so that's pretty cool. But if it's a country that doesn't speak English, which ones are safe? I think France is safe. Switzerland is safe. I mean, I just feel like wherever you go, you just gotta watch your back. You know, don't act crazy. Don't leave your bag like far away from you, just laying there. Like, don't leave your phone. Like, you know, like, just use common sense. But I mean, I say that, but a lot of time common sense is not that common these days. How is the traveling to different places, or like how easy is it to navigate through these places? Oh, so like, all right, like I said before, because I was in Europe, it was so much easier to travel to different places. So it was pretty easy. Just look it up on Google. Google has all the answers. Back to like best places and like food and stuff. I gotta say, London, you got it for the food. Like, you really probably have better food than New York, and I it's kind of a struggle to say that because New York has so much variety, but London really, okay, I don't know if I should say you have better food than New York. I take that back because I got to represent, but London really has good food. So if you're ready to like spend money on food, London is your place. London is your place. Here's a question from Rena Nicole. On a scale from 1 to 10, how fluent do you think you are in French? So on a scale of 1 to 10, it's hard to say because I actually have to think in the like levels of how they teach French in school. So basically, as a beginner, it's like, think beginner 1, beginner 2, intermediate 1, intermediate 2, advanced 1, advanced 2. Think of it like that. So it's like A1 level to C2 level. So it's like A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Like, think of it like that. So I went to France like at 0. So like, think A1. And then I worked my way up to B1. So that's like intermediate beginner, or intermediate 1. So that's will give you an idea of how fluent I am in French. I feel like I'm still at like beginner 2, I'll say, but I mean, I did make a huge, I mean, I learned a lot. I don't even know if I remember all that I learned. I actually think it's going away pretty fast, but because I'm not like practicing it, that's the next thing I need to like practice, and I do feel bad that I'm not, because it kind of feels like money's like going down the drain the more like I go without like practicing my French. So I need to practice. Like, I'm trying to make a conscious effort to do so, but it's kind of hard with the semester anyways. What do you think is the most important thing to pack? The most important thing to pack is toothbrush, toothpaste, underwear, medication if you have to take medication, your camera. I take pictures, so a camera is pretty important for me to pack. But I feel like those are kind of basic, you already know that. So like, what else is something that is pretty important to pack and it's not necessarily obvious? And I would say that is, oh, I got it. The most important thing to pack that people don't necessarily, what is one? Oh, okay. The most important thing, yeah, remember, college dorm. Anyways, the most important thing to pack that is not necessarily like obvious is a travel adapter. Like, the outlets in Europe are different, like different, even from England to France, different. So pack a travel adapter for the outlets. And speaking of outlets, don't think you're gonna go to Europe with your hair dryer or your straightening, what do you call those things? I don't have to use them. The flat iron, and think that they're gonna survive them outlets. They won't. They will like pop, 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 pop. I sound like my best friend just now. And it's just gonna not be pretty. Like, that happened to so many girls. Like, they really messed up their hair dryers. So don't think you're about to plug in your stuff in those things. Or you could get a special adapter for it, but just, I guess, get one there because you could get them pretty cheap there. What would you do differently with what you know now since returning? Well, I think I would have tried harder to get that tutoring job. I it was like really up to me, and I was just thinking about how much money it would be to like travel so far to like do it. But I feel like if I tried a little harder to make it happen, it would have been worthwhile, and I would have really like improved my French at a like crazy rate. So I would say, if not taking advantage of that job opportunity, to take advantage of like an internship or something, because you'll really like get a good amount of like practice with the language. Did you experience any racism as a Black Jamaican American woman in Europe? I did not experience racism, but I definitely felt how they'll say like French people are not racist, but I wouldn't necessarily say that. I just feel like it's so engraved in their ideology that they don't realize that certain things that they do is actually racist. I just think they're literally like not thinking about it. So it's just, racism really is not like, I don't want to say it's not a thing there, but it's just like not conscious at all to them. Where like Americans really like, we say you did this and this, oh that's racism, and they're like, we do this and this, and this is just how we work, you know. So I personally did not experience racism, but I definitely had a lot of talks about racism because they're very interested in American politics. They're very interested in American society and like all these things that happen. So like you get the questions like, oh, do you have to take cover every day so you won't get shot or something? Is everyone dying every day? Are you in risk? Like, are you okay? Can you survive? Can you live without fear of getting shot? So, I mean, you get certain questions, but I haven't experienced racism. What country or city did you have the best food? And I already answered this, and I'll say London. Like, I thought it would have been Morocco, but it was London. And they say like, oh, French people or French cuisine is the best, but I really think why people like big up like French cuisine is because they're very artistic with it. So like their layout and like their presentation of food, like food presentation is like really really good. Like the French really take pride in how they present their food, and we definitely saw that in the cafeteria as well. Like they really try to present that food and make it look good, but the taste, however, is a different story. And I'm not trying to come for like all French cuisine. Like, to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out what really is French cuisine, because I didn't feel like there were many things that were like distinctively French. And then when they were distinctively French, like I couldn't eat it because I don't eat those types of food. So it's just like, I don't know. I was surprised I didn't get to like enjoy too much like of French cuisine. I did in Paris like have some good meals, but apart from that, yeah, I would definitely give it to London. So that concludes the study abroad tips, advice video, living abroad, traveling abroad. I probably could have given more tips about like living and traveling abroad, because I feel like this is very much so study abroad focused. But if you have any more questions, definitely drop them in the comments below, and I'll be so happy to answer your questions. And if you have any comments too about your experiences about traveling abroad, then definitely share them below. I would love to hear about your experiences. So till next time, au revoir. Again, back. I totally forgot that someone outside of the polls had asked me to name my top 5 tips. So here we go. I'm gonna just look at my list and just read from there. So 1, literally pray for a good experience, because there's so much that can go wrong. Like literally, I don't want to, I'm just not going to bring that negativity here, but I'm just saying, just pray. I mean, and everything, pray over your life, but like pray over this experience, because you want to have an amazing experience, and just that God will cover you while you're on your different excursions. So the next one is to travel to neighboring countries. Like I said, it's cheaper, take advantage of that, and you get to see different sides. Next is go out as often as you can afford to. Even when you can't afford to, still go out. And as the experience is your best teacher, so when you're going out and doing these different things, you're learning at the same time, so it's an investment, duh. Number 4 is build friendships with locals. I literally, like, I'm just so happy I was able to meet amazing people while I was traveling, like in France, in London, like literally some amazing people that like I can now like go back to and visit and see, and even still I'm actually talking to one right now, like even like communicate with them still. So definitely build relationships with locals. And the last one is to go on this journey having minimal expectations. And I think that was a huge thing I learned, because I went to France expecting something and then it was not that. And that's why when people ask me, oh, how did you enjoy France, and I'm just like a little hesitant, because I went there with a certain expectation and it just wasn't that, and that kind of bummed me out. But obviously still overall I had a great experience. But just go with minimal expectations and take the experience for what it is. So yeah, for this time I'm going. I'm so happy I was able to talk about this. Peace.